morning. So when you guys think of Thanksgiving, you usually think of it as a time spent with family and friends and eating like 5 pounds of turkey. But for people like me who work in retail, Thanksgiving is far from that. It's a time of chaos, it's a time of like stress, and you don't even think about family and friends. Today I'm going to talk to you about why Black Friday should be moved to actual Friday instead of it being on Thanksgiving like how it usually is. Retailers have been moving Black Friday earlier and earlier, and this year it started at 5 o'clock where I work, and it started at 5 o'clock in other places as well. I don't think that it should be starting at 5 o'clock on Thanksgiving, because that leaves out a whole day of spending time with family and friends for the people who work for these big retailers. And Thanksgiving is a national holiday where people do spend it with family and friends. What I think retailers should do is move Black Friday to actual Friday instead of it being on Thursday, because the only reason why they do this is because of money. Like, they don't think about their employees' families, or like how they spend Thanksgiving. For me, I was actually hired as seasonal, so technically this is what I was hired for, but since Thanksgiving is a national holiday, it should be spent with family and friends, although I am a seasonal worker. Also, the reason why I think retailers should do or should move to Black Friday is because they can do their sales online the day of Thanksgiving and have them online only, so that way their employees don't have to come in on Thanksgiving, and they can come in early on Friday rather than leaving their whole Thanksgiving to waste, whereas they can spend their Thanksgiving with their families and then come into work for actual Black Friday. John Von Moore, the owner of the Von Moore Company, stated that he said that Thanksgiving and holidays like that are sacred, and they should be spent with family instead of them having their employees work on Thanksgiving. They think that they don't have to be open that day for sales when they're open the rest of the year. And the TJX Corporation, the owner of TJ Maxx, stated that they're an associate-friendly company, which means that they're friendly towards their associates and their schedules. So they think that being open on Thanksgiving isn't fair to them. So they close on Thanksgiving and open on actual Black Friday. In conclusion, I do believe that Thanksgiving should be moved back to Black Friday, because employees should be spending Thanksgiving with their families instead of being at work stressed out. They should be gaining 5 pounds in turkey and mashed potatoes and being families. Thank you.
Anna, did you have some comments?
Oh, yes. So I thought your intro and like your preview and everything was set up really well. There was a lot of like personal experience, which is good since like you've worked in it, so you kind of understand how it works. I think one of your kind of resources could have been used in the beginning to kind of help tie in why you wanted Thanksgiving to be off, because it kind of helps set it up. But the second one would have been good, like where you used it, but they were good resources to use. I feel like maybe you could maybe use one or two more in there just to kind of back up why, but the ones that you used were good resources. And then you did look up a lot. You had good body language and everything. You kind of looked at it sometimes, but you looked up and over it sometimes too.
All right. The delivery things are generally okay. I didn't see anything that was a big problem. The time is a little limited, as you probably are aware of. I think the opening is pretty effective. I like the attention device that you have, the visualization and the personal experience and your perspective. We know what it is that you're talking about. What you need to do is you need to build a stronger argument that this is, that people are hurt or harmed by this changing tradition, that we're undermining something that is culturally significant and important. And you just kind of say, well, it squashes people's Thanksgiving holidays that they have to work. Well, there's always somebody that's ending up having to work on a holiday, and whether they're operating a gas station, running a movie theater, opening a restaurant for people who don't have a home to go and eat. There's always somebody who's in that situation. So why is retail different? And I think there's a reason that you could argue that retail is different. It's a conscious choice that they're making to move the sales season up earlier and earlier. And their motivation, of course, like you said, is money. You need to show that the money issue is an insufficient justification, or that it can adequately be met by your particular solution. Because when you say it seems like they don't care about their employees, well, if the company doesn't have economic success, they won't have any employees. So that's always one of those justifications. And I think part of it has gotten to be that everybody's creeping up earlier and earlier because the other person is creeping up earlier and earlier. It's not so much that I don't know. I'd have to look and find information. It's not so much that they would not be successful if they waited until Friday instead of starting on Thursday, but they are competing with Target's competing with Walmart, which is competing with Kohl's, which is competing with Sears, which is competing with Neiman Marcus, which is competing with whoever, and they're all doing these kinds of things, and they're living up to these standards. I think you could give us a little bit more of the history of this creep to show that this hasn't always been this way, that in fact the economic value of the day after Thanksgiving sales has mostly been starting the day after Thanksgiving, and that it wasn't until a decade or so ago that people started doing these kinds of things. When you mentioned the internet shopping and that sort of thing as a potential solution, I do think that that's part of the problem. Also, though, is that a lot of these retailers are competing with internet sales, and as a result they feel like they have to provide something that gives them a competitive edge or a reason for people to come out that's a little bit different. And so I think you need to do more to kind of diminish the importance of those issues, and you don't really have any information on that. You've got a quote from a retailer that talks about why they think it's appropriate to do this. You've got an example of another retailer that has made this decision. What you need to do is do some finger pointing and say, here are the retailers that are exploiting workers on Thanksgiving. Here are some of their stories, some of the things that happen. And I think by admitting that you are a seasonal employee, that you're hired for that particular reason, but it still is problematic for you, that's a good place to start. But how about those people that aren't just seasonal employees, that are regular employees, and they get stuck in this kind of thing too? You say, it's bad enough for me, a person like me who gets the job specifically because they're doing a lot of heavy sales at this time of the year. But what if you've been a loyal employee for the whole year and you've, worked all kinds of times, and here's an opportunity for you to have some quality time with your family. Well, here's, this organization thinks that that's important to do. Here's why that's important to do. And, even if you had to pay, seasonal workers to take over, at least maybe give the time off to the full-time employees, that kind of thing. But that's not what happens. Target requires that their associates be there, X number of hours during the week or whatever. You need a little bit more content. You've got an opinion, and that's a good starting place, but you need more than just the opinion, and I think that that's where it maybe lacks a little bit. All right, thank you.